Let's talk about the production possibilities frontier and what it can tell us about a society, in particular opportunity cost. Let's consider a society in which only two goods are produced, pizza and wings. Recall that economists often like to use models like this to give us a simplified view of a very complex world. Of course, in reality, there's no society that only produces two things, but from this model, we can learn some things about how societies do work, even in the more complex, realistic situations. So this is a production possibilities frontier, or a PPF. The PPF is a curve on a graph where one of the goods produced, in this case pizzas, is on a vertical axis, and the other good, in this case wings, is on the horizontal axis. The PPF tells us all the combinations of those two goods that can be produced in this society if the society is employing all of its resources. So if all of its workers are working at their full strength and all of the machines are put toward working on either pizzas or wings, everything that can be used in society in order to make pizza and wings is being used in society to make pizza and wings. Now, we can imagine that we could devote all of our time to making only pizzas, and we have no wings in the society. In that case, this production possibilities frontier tells us that we would make 100 pizzas appear on the pizza axis. This is what happens if we make 0 wings and only pizzas. The most we can make if we put all of our resources into making pizzas is the point 100, which is where the production possibilities frontier crosses the pizza axis. On the other hand, if we make nothing but wings, we'll make 0 pizzas, but we can make 300 wings, which we know because that's where the production possibilities frontier crosses the wings axis. We also could make several combinations of the two. We could make, here at point D, 30 pizzas and 280 wings, or we could make 70 pizzas and 200 wings at point B, or we could make point A or point C. Think about this point, the point at 50 pizzas and 200 wings. Is this possible? Of course it's possible, because we could make at point C 50 pizzas and 250 wings. In that case, we'd be using all of our resources. So of course if we can make 50 pizzas and 250 wings, we could also make 50 pizzas and just 200 wings. But in that case, we're not using all of our resources. This would be if maybe one of our workers or a few of our workers were sick. We can't use all of our resources to our full capacity. Anything inside the PPF is possible, but not what we would call efficient. These are not points, they're not combinations of pizzas and wings that are using all of our resources. How about a point out here, beyond the PPF? Those are combinations of pizza and wings that we cannot make, because using all of our resources, the best we can do is a point on the PPF. And so a point outside the PPF would be a combination of resources that we simply cannot make. We do not have the resources to get out there. Now, what does the PPF tell us about opportunity cost? Notice here where I have arrows drawn. If we start in our society at point D, where we're making 30 pizzas and 280 wings, but we decide we'd kind of like to have more pizza. Since we're using all of our resources at point D, that means if we want to make more pizza, we're going to have to sacrifice some wings, because we simply don't have more resources to put toward making pizza unless we take some away from making wings. In this case, notice if we go to point C, we add 20 pizzas, so now we're making 50 pizzas instead of 30. But in order to do that, we had to give up 30 wings. So now we're making 50 pizzas and 250 wings. In this case, the PPF shows us the opportunity cost of making 20 more pizzas was 30 wings. Recall that opportunity cost is the cost of the next best alternative to what you're doing. What did you give up in order to add something to your life. In this case, for this society, they've added 20 pizzas. The opportunity cost is what they had to give up to do that. In this case, 30 wings. Now, what happens if we decide we'd like 20 more pizzas? I'd actually like to be able to make 70 pizzas. How many wings do I have to give up to do that? Well, we would go from point C to point B, where now we're making 70 pizzas, but we can only make 200 wings. Notice this means that we've given up 50 wings in order to make another 20 pizzas. Similarly, if we decide we want to make 90 pizzas, we'll have to give up wings again, in this case 80 wings, to make 90 pizzas. Notice that the opportunity cost is not constant. The more pizzas we make, the more wings we have to give up in order to do it. Why is this? Well, think about, in particular, your workers. If you're in a society where you're making nothing but wings, all of your workers are working on wings, and you decide you'd like to make some pizzas, which workers will you choose? You'll choose those who aren't so good at making wings. Maybe they're better at making pizzas, and you'll tell them to go make pizzas. In that case, you didn't give up all that many wings because you took the resources that weren't good at making wings anyway and devoted them to pizzas. But the more pizza you make, now you're going to have to start dipping into those folks who were good at making wings. So you're going to be giving up more wings because they could make more wings than the first folks. You got to give up more wings in order to make more pizza now that you're at a higher number of pizzas. So that's why the PPF is bowed out curve. And that's why the opportunity cost as we move along the PPF is different and not constant. Now, what are some things that can help us change our PPF? You can imagine that a society would not be satisfied sticking with the same production possibilities. We'd like to be able to push that frontier and be able to produce even more stuff. That's possible if we have increases in resources or technology. Those new resources or technology can either affect the production of one good or affect the production of both goods. First, let's look at what happens when we get new resources that affect the production of one good. Say we have our same old PPF, where we can devote all our resources to pizza and make 100 pizzas. We can devote all our resources to wings and make 300 wings, or we can do somewhere in between along the PPF. Imagine what happens if we, in our society, are able to have new technology that makes it easier and faster to produce pizzas. Say, new pizza ovens. Now, these new pizza ovens won't affect how well we can make wings, but they will affect how well we can make pizzas. And so, imagine in our society, if we're putting all of our resources toward making pizzas, now, rather than making 100, we could make more than 100 because we have better technology. But if, on the other end, we're making only wings, nothing will change because the new pizza ovens won't affect how well we can make wings. So we get a new PPF that looks like this. It's stretched upward along the pizza axis, but it crosses the wings axis in exactly the same place because new technology that helps us make pizzas will help make more pizza, but not necessarily more wings. What this means, though, is that if we were originally at the point A here, where we were making 70 pizzas and 200 wings, now we could produce somewhere like point B, where we can make more pizza and more wings. Because since we can make pizza more efficiently, we can devote more of our resources to making wings if we'd like, and be able to make more of both things. You can imagine that this would be a similar PPF that would cross the pizza axis in the same place, but come out further on the wings axis if, for example, we introduce new technology on the wings side. Now there's one other way that we could change the PPF, and that is just a straight outward shift. Imagine we get better workers or more workers. It doesn't matter whether they're making pizza or wings, They're just better workers, which means we can, if we're making only pizza, we could make more pizza, and also if we're making more wings, we could make more wings. The resulting PPF is one that's a parallel shift outward from the original one. Now we can just make more of both things and any combination in between because of better resources, better technology all around that help us with both products. So now we could produce at point C where we make 80 pizzas and 250 wings. I hope that helps to improve your understanding of the production possibilities frontier.